shirt, so they're like, "Yeah, go, Mike!" So I'm running, and I feel like I have wings. And then I get to the top of Manhattan, and yelling at myself in the middle of the street, like, "No, continue, keep going!" And somehow, like, my legs started to move. When you lean into every moment, and you expect magic and miracles to happen, that's living.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to a brand new series on this channel. We are talking about foundations. These are foundation stories. These are inspirational people that I get to meet on my journey through life. Yeah, we've got the A-listers on here and we've got the super celebs, but the world's not filled with them. There are more influential people than you know about. So I'm going to uncover them for you and introduce you to them. So today, my wonderful guest is a very good friend of mine from New York City. It's Michael Lamothe. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Bo. How are you?
I'm good. I know we're both partaking in a vino this afternoon.
Yes. Chin chin.
Cheers. Today I'm drinking a organic Viognier from southern Australia, Yalumba. It's very good. If you don't know your wines, Viognier is not that acidic. You're thinking more apricots and stuff. Great with chicken and pasta. What are you drinking?
I am drinking just whatever happened to be in the wine fridge. We have a Beringer Founders Estate Merlot 2002 California wine. Not bad. I was actually kind of surprised by this one.
I like a red. I'm a red man, but I don't know. Today, Stacy decided we're gonna have white, and that's just what happens sometimes. But unfortunately, as you can see, the bottle is empty, so the red will be opened this afternoon.
Very lovely.
But anyway, let's just jump into this, because for me, the most important question that I want to start with is, we don't know what you do yet, but I think if we ask the question, why do you do what you do in your life, I think we're going to get to uncover who you are. So, Michael, why do you do what you do?
Well, it's kind of interesting why I do what I do. So the thing that I'm doing is helping traders trade fearlessly. And that comes from a place of wanting to help traders get over this wall, this barrier. Often when traders approach the market, they crack open their first book, they start to apply the principles, they get to this point where they start to make progress, and then something happens and they get slapped back down, and that happens over and over again. And this is what I experienced personally too. So the equity curve ends up like it starts to go up, and then like it just kind of like bounces around, and it can be very frustrating, and this can last for years. At least that was my experience early on. So I wanted to help traders get over this mental wall. And it actually, the name Mara actually comes from my first experience running the New York City Marathon. And I remember very vividly, at first it was just something to check off the bucket list, but I went through the whole process, wasn't quite sure what I was doing, although I did train with a team. At one point I thought that I got injured a couple of months out. I thought that I wouldn't be able to do it. Thankfully, I got over that injury, was able to start. So I start the race, and New York City Marathon is traveling all through all 5 boroughs. And well, when you get to Manhattan, you're at around mile 16, and that's where virtually the entire city is all gathered, and you have millions of people there screaming your name out. Like I had my name written across my shirt, so they're like, "Yeah, go, Mike!" So I'm running, and I feel like I have wings. And then I get to the top of Manhattan and this bridge that leads into the Bronx, and that point is called the Wall, because when new runners like myself hit that wall, or that point, you feel like you want to quit, because you spent all your energy running through Manhattan, and then you're met with this steep bridge and nobody there to cheer you on. So that happened to me. I got over the bridge, and I was tired. My legs would not move, and so I'm standing there was probably around like mile 19, 20, something like that. And I actually started to cry because I thought that I wasn't going to finish the race. And it only lasted a moment, although in the moment it felt like hours. But I recall yelling at myself in the middle of the street, like, no, continue, keep going. And somehow, like, my legs started to move one at a time, at a time, at a time. And I stopped focusing on the the finish line, and I stopped focusing on the 6 miles ahead of me. I started focusing on that next step and that next step and that next step. And by doing that, I was able to get to the finish line. And there's a great picture of me like jumping across at the end. And I ended up getting medical attention. I had my foot was like, my sock was like all soaked with blood, but I didn't care. I was feeling, yeah, that's drink worthy. But yeah, so I feel as though there's many traders who experience something similar when they are on this path and they get to that point, and there's nobody cheering you on throughout this process at all. So I want to help those people get over that wall and get towards the finish line.
Well, I think it's important to note that if you are going into, like, I know most people are financially illiterate. We're not taught it in schools, and it's made to look like the Matrix Code for a lot of people. And anyone who I think is brave enough to venture into it, their intentions are always, they want to make money because it's a money market, but there's a bigger goal to it. They want a better life for their family. They want an easier life. They want to send their kids to a better school. So what I love about what you're doing is you're making their dream, which is bigger than money, because if we all wanted just pieces of paper with dead people on it, we could just draw that. But to be able to help them get the process of that value, and that's where the value comes in. So I think it's awesome. And I know you set up a new company recently called Mara Wealth.
And yes, that's right, marawealth.com.
And so you've got your mission. Basically, the way I'm seeing you right now is you're the guy at the wall saying, let's keep going, I know the way. And you're kind of holding the torch and let's go. But with Mara Wealth as a vehicle for this, how are you actually doing it into the world?
So far, we're offering a variety of coaching services, one-on-one group. There's, and as I've just focused more on giving value as much as I possibly can, things have seemingly fallen out of the sky. Like there's been collaborations. First one was with Schwab. I was on their talk show giving advice. Then I was on StockTwits approached me. They have a brand new product that they are launching called Rooms. There's going to be 20 dedicated rooms to a variety of topics. Mine is the only one that is focused around trading mindset. And to me, like that's the most important thing. But unfortunately, it's the least common spoken about. So I'm trying to change part of that as well. When we have the right mindset, the right approach, the right set of beliefs, those are the kinds of things that help us get over the wall, get to that finish line.
Something I'm seeing a lot online through social media, I don't know, everyone loves to show their best life. But something I'm seeing with you is, which I respect, is you're someone on the process to making a dream. And I know when you realize that dream, there'll be another dream and whatnot, but you are living in the real world. You have to get up, you have a family, you have a job, yet it's still possible to create something like this. It's not this life of, I give up everything and I'm going to focus 100% on Instagram or my company and whatnot. It just doesn't work like that. So I think it's really real what you're doing. And do you kind of get disheartened I know you do, don't lie to me.
Don't even have the chance.
What do you feel like when you're disheartened in these moments? Because I know there are times, I know in my times, where I'm working my ass off on these channels and content because I do have a mission. Yet circumstance, life gets in the way, and then I start believing those little gremlins in my head telling me that maybe it's not worth it, maybe go for the easy life, look after yourself. How do you kind of feel about that, and what do you do in those situations?
It's interesting that you. There's a couple of points in here. First, one of the things that you kind of touched on was that it's still part of the journey, and it is. But most people are shocked, and they were shocked. Well, when I had my first company, Chart Your Trade, that I was not a full-time trader. Most of my audience back then, or like half of the audience, were professional traders, and they were coming to me. And I still have a separate full-time job. I'm still doing this at night on weekends, both building this empire and trading. And now I have my daughter who recently turned 3. And when you are mission driven, when you have clarity, that is when you're able to pursue the thing, because the alternative is not acceptable.
Was it Les Brown? Les Brown says something really cool. It's like most people live until they're 35. They die. Yep. They die when they're 35, and they don't leave Earth until they're like in their 70s. And it's so true. It's true. Like that existence.
It's true. Most people are living for the weekend.
Yeah, they live for the week. It is the weekend now, and for me, the weekend. Like last night, full-time job again. You get back to it. Interviews as soon as I get in, and not to bed until 1 or 2 a.m. Get up, back to work. Today, my weekend's doing this all day. I've got a boatload of these, but I love every second of it because I'm doing something that not only fulfills me, but I think similar to you and a lot of the people that we chat to on this channel, and not only that, the people I speak to on the Bow Show and on 4-Minute Masters, they don't do it for themselves. There's the light isn't shining inside, it's shining out, and they're trying to illuminate the world as much as they can. And that's what keeps them going. Because I know for me, I was selfish when I was a musician. I wanted to do it for me. I wanted to be the rock star. I wanted to be the guy who goes on stage and everyone's like, "Oh my god, how can such a short man be so sexy?" No, but no, I wanted to do that. But as soon as I got into this and I had a kind of literally a ground-breaking life change, I realized that when you switch the light the other way, life gets so much easier, because I'm not doing it for the views. I'm not doing it for the money anymore. I'm doing it for that. Like, we get to connect, and we actually, if you don't know, Michael and I are very good friends, and we chat every day. We spend more time laughing than actually conversing, and I think that's one of the most important parts of life. And when you're on your deathbed, you can't take your things with you, but you can take this with you. So I think it's awesome. But kind of getting less morbid and back into the real world. So you're doing Mara Wealth now. This came about because you didn't see Mara Wealth from the start of your journey, did you?
No, not at all. Back in May, I attended Evan Carmichael's workshop on being a thought leader, and I went there with the idea that I would grow my then business, Chart Your Trade. At that point, I had it for about 5.5, almost 6 years, and that I wanted to take that to the next level. And when I left that workshop, I had greater clarity on my one word and what I wanted to try to do. And I also started working with Jay Rise and Evan and the SOAR accelerator program. And Jay Rise is a godsend. He really helped me figure out like what is it that I want to do, and does this current business align with what I want to do? Well, it sort of does, because I want to help traders, but does it help traders in the way that I want to help traders and in the way that I am best able to provide value to the world? And it turned out that it was something that was better off being sold or transitioned, and then building this new thing that was more in line with my one word. My one word is inspire, and what that means to me is doing things that are that not only inspire other people, but things that I personally feel inspiration from. Things that so there's an element of belief. There's elements of perseverance, getting over that wall, and the final part of what inspire means to me is love. Uh, yeah, it's I actually told this story at this past workshop in September at the final dinner. At the very end, we were all going around telling, giving our last anecdotes, and so I explained that I learned uh, through meditation, and I didn't know this about my one word until I uh, completed the workshop. But I had discovered that my one word actually came from my dad. There was uh, so part of my backstory with that is well, my parents were divorced. They divorced when I was very young, maybe at about 4 or 5 years old, and I was living with my mom. She and my stepdad. At one point, they lost their house. We became homeless. We were homeless for about a month. And thankfully, my mom decided, you know what, Michael doesn't need to live like this. I'm going to call up your father, and you're going to live with him. And so, and at that point, they had built him up to be this terrible monster of a person, telling me all kinds of terrible things. But uh, he came out, drove it in the middle of the night, about 2.5 hours or so, to pick me up. I went with him very reluctantly and gave him hell for probably about the following 10 years. And the workshop and going through this whole process of the one word led me to believe that inspiration comes from my dad. It's the believing in oneself. He believed in me, and it's the perseverance, dealing with a decade of the crap that I gave him, and the undying and unconditional love that he showed me. And my dad and I don't really say those words to each other. Well, we say them a lot more now, but we didn't growing up. But he showed it through his actions, and it was thanks to Evan and learning what my one word is and how it all these things affect me that I was then able to go and tell the story to my dad at his 70th birthday. And so I shared that at the last day of the workshop with everyone. I'm sorry, I forget how we got off on this tangent, but
No, man, this is what it's all about. People are here to be inspired and also realize that we're all human. I think one thing that is detrimental to people seeking inspiration is they're only looking at the best of highlights, and they're not seeing that everyone's got a story. Everyone is equal. We all we all wake up every morning and go to sleep when the sun sets, and that relationship, which is like the being having a relationship to you, people relating to your story, will inspire them. Because I think when people feel they have insecurities and things, or they realize things on their own, but they find someone like you they can relate to, it encourages their journey and allows them to go. And it doesn't matter what field you're in. Like, you're in finance. I'm nothing to do with finance, yet we connected. I know other people in the arts. I know people in other businesses. Yet everyone connects because there's a relation of humanity to it. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, two things before we go. And you're like, oh, what's he going to say? Don't worry. He's like, please don't be inappropriate. I'm not going to be. The first thing is, I want people to understand that what you're trying to do is get more people financially literate if they want to go into that field of looking into money. I think you can go into stock trading and forex and kind of stocks and shares, things like that. You don't have to commit your life to it, but if you've got the knowledge and you're being led in the right direction, it helps. Correct?
Yeah, 100%.
And so I think that's what you're doing with Mara Wealth. And as I said, the links will be on the bottom. It's probably on the bottom now. And so that's why I appreciate what you're doing, and that's why I wanted you on here, because everyone wants more money. But if there's a little bit of clarity to it and a little bit of a system, I think that's going to help people and get them secure. And what would you say to someone who's scared of going into this field?
It's someone that's scared, that I think that uh, they don't need to be. I think that it's an unconscious choice that people make, and if we consciously may choose to not be afraid, that we can see the other side of things, or we can change our perspectives to one of fearfulness to fearlessness. And I think that the market is a place where fears manifest themselves right before our eyes, all the time. And it's those of us who are able to take a step back momentarily, observe from a neutral perspective, and then all of a sudden there's what's a fearful time for somebody else can turn into one of great opportunity for others, and then there's incredible wealth to be had, and it's just a slight tweak to one's mindset that opens this beautiful world up.
It's true about everything. Your life starts as soon as you leave your comfort zone. And I think financial trading, financial literacy, knowing about that is definitely outside of people's comfort zones. So, guys, you've got someone to hold your hand now who's going to help you. All the links are below to help you. Michael's one of the loveliest guys I know. He will respond to your comments. The Instagram, would Instagram be the best way to get to you? Twitter? What?
I'm on both. Michael G. Lamothe on Instagram, on Twitter, also on StockTwits. Any of those are fantastic ways to get a hold of me. If you want to go to merrillwealth.com, there's a contact list there. There's a variety of tools. In fact, one of the things that I share on there that's a free download for people, I give the top 10 things that I wish I knew when I first started this journey and kind of throughout. It's called the Trader's Thought Box, and it's a one-page PDF that outlines everything, and then there's accompanying videos for each one. And within about an hour, people are getting 20 years worth of market knowledge and heartache, and hopefully helping them get way over their learning curve.
Well, there you go, guys. Something that you can take tangibly and use if you're an artist, if you are in a business, learning to do this kind of stuff, kind of diversing your portfolio into how you are making money. It's no secret that the most successful people in the world don't make money one way. If this is another way you can make money to invest back in yourself, in your business and whatnot, upgrading your cameras or whatever you need to do, this is a way. So just before we go, last thing I was going to ask you, and I don't mind backtracking because it's my show. I can do what I want. I can leave. No, I'm not going to leave.
I love it. The best.
Something you and I connect on, I think we both agree with this. We'll make it really quick. How important is health and fitness to every journey you're doing in your life? Especially as you're getting old. Like I'm in my 30s, so are you. It's important to take care of your body now. Like my motto is I want to be in good enough health to be able to see my empire. Mm-hmm. And I know that on your Instagram every day you're Orange Theory and you're running and stuff. So just really quickly, like why health and fitness is so important for what you do and why other people should start taking it seriously.
For me, it's something where I feel as though like mentally, like in my mind, well, with what I'm learning and doing, like I feel as though like I'm in my 50s, but physically I feel as though I'm 25, and next year I'm going to be turning 40. So it's given me the energy to be able to get up at 4:45, be able to stay up, do all these variety of things, sometimes up to midnight. And it's a big chunk of it, of course, is passion for the thing that you're doing, but it's also having this machine that's able to help you live your passion. I feel as though If now, or at least my experience was when I was in a very sedentary place where I was not exercising and I, wasn't moving around, and I was just kind of focused on the day job, which was not my passion, and then like kind of getting frustrated with not having enough time for my daughter and just kind of being out of rhythm with everything. It's not a it wasn't a healthy way for me to live. To me, well, what health is finding balance for myself, and that's going to be slightly different for everyone. Uh, I think that a good mix of fitness, eating healthy, exercises is very important to at least have a like a baseline, get up, move around, and it helps change the environment too. It helps change the environment too. I feel a lot more connected when I'm out and about, walking in nature, going for a run. You get to, depending on the time that I go, like if I'm out early in the morning, 5 a.m. or so, you'll see like a lot of rabbits and birds and things like that. It's pretty awesome to see, and yeah, it's just a way to connect with the environment. So it fills me up both physically, mentally, and spiritually. Lots of benefits uh, to daily exercise.
I always found that when I'm out of shape, I'm physically fat, but mentally fat as well. I'm not functioning. I don't have the clarity. Excuses become really easy to lean on. It's like excuses become like an escalator instead of a staircase, and you just ride it. And yeah, if you like, if you're in your life and you want to be overweight and whatnot, that's your choice. It's up to you. But from my experience, having literally being both ends of the spectrum, my life's a lot better when I'm in shape because the discipline of working out when I don't want to, I carry forward into other things. Like today, did a workout, didn't want to do it, so I did it. Didn't want to do it for every single second, and then I finished, and I still cursed myself for about an hour. And now I'm okay. But don't worry, I feel great. But no, it's what allows me to just to keep going. But thanks, dude. I watch I watch you on Instagram and your health journey, and I support it. And I think anyone who's taking strides to improve their health in any way is exceptional. So thanks for that. But guys, that's it. That's the foundation story over. The rest is up to you. You got to go and follow Michael. My only request on this series for people, if you're watching, every single person that we interview, I'm going to use Instagram for this one. Just follow them on Instagram. Why? Just be part of their journey. Be part of it. You were here before something exploded. And take a chance on someone. Open your heart. And if you really want to kind of go a step further, actually not just follow them, but say hi. You might create a dialogue and you might meet a friend you've never known. So, my friend, thank you so much for being on here today. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to see what you're going to be doing professionally for the next few years, because I know there's some big things we didn't even speak about on this that are coming up for you. And it's exciting. And I hope a lot of you related to this. I hope a lot of you took things away from this conversation we had, and you can go, yeah, maybe I am doing the right thing. Life does get hard sometimes, but I just got to keep going. Like, we're all going to hit that wall. And it's people like Michael who are going to be there, not just financially, but maybe in other ways to keep you going. So, do you got anything to say before we go? It could be anything you want. You can talk about babies holding apples. You can talk about your wine. You can talk about poutine. Whatever you want.
Oh my God, so many things.
So many choices.
So many lovely choices. Apples are a very healthy snack, and so you should have a bite of one every single day. But I would also just a parting word for the general audience. I would say just like find out what your passion is as soon as you can, and run toward it like mad. And the universe opens up. When we give to others, when we find our purpose, when we find what our gifts are, our job then becomes to give those gifts away. And the quicker we can find that, the happier our lives become. And every single moment is important. Every single moment is precious. And when we treat it that way, that's how we live forever. Just like how you were saying earlier about that quote of living until you're 35, and then or living until you're 70, but you're dying at 35. the way to extend that is just live every single moment. Don't live for the weekends. And if you're not living for the weekends, then all of a sudden, it well, for me, time used to fly because like before I figured all this out, because I was one of those people that was just living for the weekend. And well, when you're just living for the weekend, the life is fast forwarding and months and years go by. But when you are focused on providing value to others, when you're focused on others, when you're living your passion, the thing that you're meant to do, when you figure out what your gifts are and you give them away, when you lean into every moment and you expect magic and miracles to happen, that's living. That is living, and that's how you find the fountain of youth every single moment. And I think that's a great way to live. So I think I'll leave with that, and I'll have a bit more wine.
Cheers, my
Cheers, brother.
friend. Ching! We'll see you for another Foundation soon. Foundation
All right.
stories soon. Pia!